Hey, Tim, what's the internal temperature of a tauntaun?
Why would I know that?
It's lukewarm.
And I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
You guys know who the goat is, don't you?
Who?
I'm the goat.
I'm the goat.
I'm the goat.
Hey,
Stop eating stuff, Bob.
bad. Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. And today we're going to talk to you about the Battle of Hoth.
There's a difference.
Not the Battle for Hoth.
Different game.
Right. Very different game. Right out. And also, if you're looking it up, you need to put Star Wars in first. It's Star Wars Battle of Hoth. So this is a Memoir 44 reprint, which I've not played Memoir 44. But yeah, so Days of Wonder is basically you get a campaign book, a rule book, and a couple of play raids, and you just go. And they really try. They really try to just kind of like, that's how you do it. Like here, there's this very like rules light.
Yes.
The scenarios are, they take 30 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Because how aggressive you are.
Yeah, also true. Also true. But yeah, depending on the scenario you're playing, you're going to have X amount of command cards, and it's going to tell you how to set up your units on the board, and then your units all roll a certain amount of dice depending on range, all those things, which we will get into from the rundown from the top down. Hey guys, this is Tim. Thank you for joining me on the rundown from the top down. So Battle for Hoth, one side's going to pick Rebellion, the other side's going to pick the Empire, and then you're going to decide what scenario you're playing, and you're going to set up accordingly. So the Rebel units are down here in red, and then in the blue, you've got the Imperial units. They're going to tell you how many tiles and of what terrain type here. You've got a little bit of flavor text, tell you about the story, and then you've got sort of your win condition and any extra special things that are going on for both the Rebel Alliance and the Galactic Empire. Then once you get that going, you're going to, you've got your command deck, right? So you got all these different cards that are going to get shuffled up, put together. Then you're going to have these cards for the different leaders, right? So the Rebel Alliance, we've got Leia Organa, we've got Han Solo, and we've got Luke Skywalker. So you're going to pick one of those leaders, their set of 3 command cards, and they're going to get shuffled into this deck as well. And then depending on the scenario, like for example, in the first one, you get to draw 4 cards. So I would draw my 4 cards. They're going to be up in my card holder here, and the Rebellion goes first. Now the Empire is doing the same thing, while same setup. They're picking from their different leaders. They're going to pick whatever set of command cards, and they're going to shuffle them into their regular deck. Then let's just say I'm the start player. I'm going to pick one of my cards, and that's what I'm going to do. So let's just add some stuff just to make this a little bit more conducive. So the units on the board, they've got rules, right? So the rebel infantry, they always are in groups of 3 when they're on the board. They can move 1 space and they're still able to attack, or they can move 2 spaces and not attack. And then you've got your range here. So at close range, they roll 3 dice. At 1 space away, 1 space between you and them, 2 dice, and then that 3rd space is just 1 die. Snow speeders, there's always groups of 3 of them in a hex. They can move 3 and then they're going to attack. So if they're adjacent, they're going to roll 4, and if they're 1 away, you get to roll 2. And then there are the artilleries. They cannot move, they cannot retreat, and they have a range of 4, and obviously their power decreases as you go down. The Empire is similar. The snow troopers, they are going to be clustered in groups of 4, same movement rules, same targeting rules. The AT-AT here cannot retreat, it just moves 1, can attack, range of 3, same damage all the way across the board. And then they've got probe droids. They can move 2 and then they can attack. So adjacent is 2 and 1 away is 1. The special rules on the probe droid is they're not worth victory points basically at the end of the game unless the scenario tells you otherwise. And then on the AT-ATs, any hits that are either the gear guy or that like little burst blast icon, basically those will be hits, but you need to then re-roll those, and you still need to roll a blast to confirm the kill. Otherwise, it's fine. They are really hard to take down, and they do a lot of damage. They're devastating, just like in the game. So, anyways, I play a card. It's going to allow me this one specifically. It's got these two sections of the board grayed out, and this one is lit up. So I know, and it's got the number 2 that I can move two units. I can activate 2 of my units on this side of the board. So if I had 2 units on this side of the board, I can activate. That means a move and potentially an attack. Also means nothing is going on over here with my stuff. I can't do anything with it. So only over here I can move following move restrictions as far as like these kind of things go. Like these would be ignored by flying vehicles, which I have. So technically I could move, and then I could move and then not move again because I want to attack. But you have to do all of your moves first. All of your units move together. So like the best way to think of this is there's 3 ships here, but technically this is just 1 unit with 3 hit points. So if it gets hit, I'm going to take one of these out. Now there's just 2 ships, but it just means I have 2 hit points left. I roll the same amount of die, everything else. You cannot combine units. So like if I had this guy here and these 2, I cannot combine those to then make this like a 3 hit point thing. No, it's 2 separate units. So this guy is very vulnerable. One more hit on this guy would do him in and he'd be done. Then, so we've gone through all the movement, right? I've moved all the units in that section. Also super important to note, if they're on the line and it's a hex that's divided between the 2 sections, they count as being in both. So a card here or a card that affects the middle would also account for that, right? So I could activate it. So once I've done all my moves, you have to do all your moves first. Then in turn order, or well, I'm going to pick what unit I'm going to start with. So I'd start with these guys, and I'm going to choose which, an area to attack. And let's just say, because these guys are adjacent, I do not have line of sight on this or this because there are units in the way, right? So let's just say for simplicity, I'm going to attack here. I'm going to roll. There are icons that are important. So the blast icons hit anything. Otherwise, you are looking for the unit specific icon. So the little blue guy obviously is going to hit infantry. The gear will hit the vehicles, right? So snow speeders and the AT-ATs. Blasts hit everybody, and the probe droids can only be hit by the blasts. There is a retreat icon, so units have to move a space back towards their baseline for every retreat icon. If they would be moved off the board or they cannot retreat, they lose basically a health for every space that they cannot retreat to. So if I had rolled this, the 2 blasts would kill these guys. They'd go away. 1, 2. I would get a victory point medal for taking out that unit. And then these guys technically could still hit. They're 3 spaces away. So it'd just be 1 die and it would take out one unit. Then that card goes to the discard, and then I'm going to draw a new card from my command deck and add it to my hand. And that's how the game plays. You're going to go until the victory condition has been met. And yeah, I mean, it's really straightforward. Line of sight is a clear line from the center of one hex to another. And yeah, some of these different terrain types will have different rule modifiers. Like maybe they block line of sight, maybe they block movement, maybe they stop your movement. They might give you a defensive bonus, different things like that. It's all pretty well explained on the player aid and in the book. So I'm going to just throw it back up to the table so you can hear our review. What an awesome teach that was.
Yeah.
I don't know who did it, but if it was me, it was definitely amazing.
Critiques below. So I'm sure Tim was wrong somewhere around there.
Yeah. I probably was.
Probably somewhere around there.
Maybe, right. This was definitely, I don't know about you, but this was definitely one of the games, like going into Gen Con, I was like, I must leave Gen Con with this game. If anything, for the Star Wars theme, and the Battle of Hoth is from one of my favorite Star Wars movies. Yes. I know that's, not like that's a hot take or anything,
Yeah,
right? Like,
ooh,
oh
hot takes by
no,
Tim,
oh
yeah.
no, he really likes Empire Strikes Back, like every
Shocker.
other Star Wars nerd.
Yeah.
But this does a pretty good job in the missions that we played. That it does feel like that.
Yeah.
But we're going to now, get into some of our thoughts beyond that. And so, Bob, I want to throw to you for some of your pros, cons. What are you thinking?
So first and foremost, the minis are awesome.
They're great,
right? Yeah. I mean, you get these little probe droids, and I've played a lot of other Star Wars games, and they always have a hard time with the probe droids and being super weak and wanting to break off because they barely connect the feet and whatnot. These feel actually pretty stout, and then nothing was broken, so that was good. The AT-ATs, they've got some fantastic beefiness to them.
Yeah, they look good.
They do look good. You get these different terrain tiles, and the nice thing about them is it's a terrain card, and they offer a lot of different strategic advantages. And so I love, dealing with that and trying to, make sure I'm up top so that your guys are getting a penalty for shooting against my people. I like it when Tim drops his cards.
Absolutely.
So I can see what he's got in his hand. But even these, like, the card holders, usually not a super big fan of card holders, but these really aren't bad. They got a slight curve to them, and then they got a nice back. So like the card, like so many of them that we've played, like the card is barely held on to, and it wants to fall or tip over, whatever. These, like, I feel like they're not going to tip over. They hold the card really well, and as far as card holders go, it does a pretty good job.
Definitely some of the better ones.
Definitely some of the better ones. I would like a little bit more. Like, after you play a card, you can maybe optionally discard a card and then draw back up just because.
Well, there are some scenarios that give you options.
Okay.
Like later on. There was one scenario towards the end where it's like you can pass and discard your whole hand and redraw -1.
Because I had a few times where it's like, I can move all my troops in this area. I've got one. It's not that big of a card. I got one, or I have none.
Well.
And that's something to keep in mind too, but it was a card I drew later on. So I was like, oh crap, I didn't know that was going to happen. And now I'm stuck with this card that is useless.
So tactically though, I think that's where the game gets really interesting because and we even were talking about when we were playing is that, so as we discussed perfectly in the teach there, the boards and this side of the board is divided into 3 different sort of like quadrants, right? Or not, wouldn't be quadrants, but sections, 3 different sections. And so your cards might be like activate 2 units in this section or all the units in this section. And they're going to, they're going to have that section highlighted. The others will be grayed out. And so then you'll know, but if you bring all of your forces sort of into one area, or at least don't have any forces in another area, that sort of makes that any of those cards for that zone like dead cards, which you can't use. And I would say all that's more like
get good
strategy and get good because here's the other thing, right? Because I could even use that as a tactical thing instead of, because it works both ways, right? It's like, it's dumb to move all my units out of this area. Now I can't use any of these cards, but it might be smart to eliminate all your units in this area. So then any cards that you have that affect this area are dead, and not as useful. So there's
a give and take there.
There's definitely some play there.
And when I set up, because I have some of these cards where it says like, well, you move one area or one unit in this area, but then you get to draw 2 cards and discard 1. So I was able to use that to like move a unit into the other space. Then I could move 2 units in another space. And I was able to draw their cards and whatnot. So just trying to keep all that in mind. And I enjoyed all that, right? The tactics
are really good here. Now this game though kind of makes it, the rule book is like a cardinal sin for me. Okay. Because the rule book is very simple and very straightforward, but it is too simple. I know that this game is supposed to be pretty entry level and everything like that, but for people like Bob and I who have played way more complex versions of these games and the rules that, like we just need more rules clarifications. There's not enough. There's not enough. And I'm just going to say in this day and age, for a game that is a major Gen Con release from a major publisher, it's absolute crap if I got to go to BGG for rules clarification.
That was about the your units move an extra unit or an extra space.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, well, actually your card says if your infantry moves 2 spaces, you don't get to attack.
Right.
But this card gives me an extra movement. And it's like, to me, I felt like it was like, well, if the card is giving me the extra movement, I'm still using that first option of
you get
moves,
your free move without the penalty.
Plus, and that's the way it works out. But like Tim said, you play a lot of games, and sometimes that might interpret differently. And so to get that clarification, we had to go online to find that clarification.
And also though, right, because that potentially can make or break somebody's whole battle.
Right.
And if you don't feel good about like feeling like that card was
meant to work that way, that could provide just some feels bad for the person on the receiving end of that card.
Sure. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it, and so like, and Bob and I mean, we were very frank about it when we were looking it up and we were talking about it. It's like, look, because I just want to know, because if I play a card like this later,
don't want to be like, no, you can't do that. Yeah.
So like, let's just be on the same page.
Yeah.
But I just think that, I will forgive that from independent publishers. Like, hey, we need a little more clarification in the rule book and stuff. But this is not an independent publisher. Like this is an established company.
Right. And with an established kind of like rule set, even almost, right? The Memoir 44.
Yeah. And I feel like it's like, don't assume we know.
Yeah. Those questions haven't been asked before.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Don't assume we know. Mm-hmm. Just put it out there.
Yeah.
And like the rule book doesn't even have like a good turn, like concise turn breakdown.
Yeah, it's like a nice turn structure flow. Then also though, like the line of sight thing that we were talking about, it's like, okay, so there's these big like I forget what they're called, crag things or whatever, and they block line of sight. Seracs, and so you draw a line from the center of the hex to a center of a hex, and if there's nothing that blocks that line, then you have line of sight. And we're like, okay, well, what if it runs like if you're in like a hex here and a hex over here, and it's running along that line,
this line right here.
So like in some games that would technically block a line of sight, in some games it wouldn't, and there was no real clarification. So we're like, well, technically that doesn't cross that line, it is that line, right? So we let it go and said, okay, yes, you have line of sight. So
and I will say that if you come into this kind of thing, I just think that all parties need to agree, and then you play
by the same rule set.
Because if you play by the same rule set, it's fine, it's fair for everybody. Yeah, but it should be in there.
Yeah, that example should be in the rule book
specifically,
because it's like, okay, well, it's running along that line. Does that still count as block then? Because
and again, I see this a lot with like games that are like, hey, we're just like going bare bones with the strat, like with the rules.
Yeah. And trying to overcomplicate it.
Yeah, and I get that, but also because you're not overcomplicating it, you're making it more complicated because you're not answering
situations.
You're not answering questions for nuanced situations, and that drives me freaking nuts because our first game it really bogged
it down to learning and trying to make sure because we wanted to play it right.
Yeah,
so we want try to hammer all that out and make sure things were playing the way it was supposed to be.
No,
we found a thread online. It said he talked to somebody had to talk to
Gen Con or something. Literally was
like that's how it was supposed to be played. Like, okay, well,
totally fine.
Yeah,
put it in the rule book.
Should have to be online.
Put it in the rule book. Yeah. I should not need to go to an outside source to play the game as intended.
Agreed.
Just saying, and it drives me nuts. Because then when we played again, like immediately played again, the game went so fast.
Yeah, it was
so
even
fast.
Though there were more units and more stuff going
on. More units, right? Yeah. It was more complicated.
Yeah,
but it went so fast.
Yeah, because those minutia rules had been already hammered out.
Right, and there's only like 3 of them. Yeah. Like 3. There's only a few little funky rules.
Yeah,
like hey, I just need a little bit of clarification.
That any kind of tactics game would run into.
It's any kind.
Yeah,
any kind at all.
It's not even those like a very like obscure thing.
It's
like what? Nobody's ever stood a hex away from somebody.
And we have also like been very blunt with each other where it's like calm down, like it ain't that complicated. You're making it harder than it is. We have done that to each other before, and I do not feel like this was a situation because we really wanted to make sure because like the whole reason I am doing this move and playing this card relies on I am interpreting this card this way.
Yeah.
And so if I don't care if it's a deck builder, if it's a territory control game or anything, if a card reads a certain way, you need to be very clear on what that is.
It needs to function that way because that's how it's going to be interpreted.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. A couple other things that I think that the rule book is missing is like a breakdown of the iconography.
Okay.
Because like on these little player aids, which are great, like it just has like that little symbol, like the rebel symbol and an X.
Yeah.
And we figured out through context that means you don't get victory medals.
Points. Yeah.
You don't get medals for destroying it. But it took us sort of playing the game and going, I think that's what this means.
I mean, maybe a little bit more thorough reading of the book before getting into it might have helped that part of it, but it's nice to have that like in one.
Yeah, but
spot.
if you got it in one spot, I'm not digging through the rule book, and the rule book's not that big.
Right. Well, rule books.
Yeah, because you got your campaign book and then your rule book.
Yeah, scenario book and that. Yeah.
And then you've also got your alternative campaign books,
so
which are great.
Like 4 books technically.
Like, give me content. I'm not mad about content, but like, give me a card, because again, the turn order, when you read the rule book, is great. Like, it's very clear in the rule book, and it just breaks down
all of your moves, and then you start assigning attacks one by one.
It's great.
Yeah,
that's great. You could put that on one card that I could then hand a player, and just in case there's any questions, and you could put a little thing with all the icons and what the icons mean on there.
On the other side.
Yeah. These are awesome. I love having, like, knowing what my opponent can do, how much they can move, the range and the dice they're going to roll, and also a constant reminder of what I can do. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But again, like, trying to interpret what the icons meant took a second.
Yeah.
Especially the AT-AT.
Having to confirm your hits.
Right. Which just was like, we need to confirm how this works. Don't quit that. Quit that. I'm traumatized.
That's how it works, Tim.
Yeah, that is how it works. So, like, honestly, all of my gripes with this game come from the rule book and none from the gameplay.
Right. Yeah, because once you have all that figured out, like, it's a lot of fun to play.
Gameplay is great.
Yeah.
The tactics cards were really fun. The way you can select your leaders and like
add some extra cards in there.
Yes, and you get to pick. So that gives you a little bit of asymmetry. In addition, it is now being shuffled in. And even if I've played Bob 10 times in this game, I don't know which of the 3 leaders he's going to use. Now, when he drops that first one and he does an orbital strike on me, it's like, well, crap.
Yeah, thanks, Admiral Pitt.
Yeah, I know what I'm in for. And not every leader card is great for every scenario, or like set of leader cards is great for every scenario, because maybe like they lean more heavy into like one kind of unit or whatever,
vehicles or whatnot.
But I'm going to say that, you know, for the most part, like at least 2 out of the 3 are going to be like pretty viable options for what you're looking at and what you could do. So, I mean, for me, my negs on the game are all in the rule book, because again, I feel like the
trying to be entry level, it should be a little bit more clear.
And I see this a lot though with like games that are like entry level, and they are, but they don't touch any nuance. And so while a newer gamer may not ask those questions, anybody that's played, you know, a couple of tactical games is definitely going to think of it.
Right.
I mean, definitely going to think of it and be like, well, no, wait, does that work that way?
I could interpret this way. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not being a turd. We just want to play it the right way, because if it works for him that way, I want it to work for me that way. If I get to play something, that's, you know, and again, with these games and like the way we played, I mean, when they were coming down to the wire, it was like next turn, like,
he rolled for win. Nope. I rolled for win.
Yeah.
Had I not, next turn, he would have rolled for win.
Yeah. And I would have even had better odds.
Correct.
You know, because of, you know, like the way the units get like whittled down and everything. So again, it's a fantastic game. But I hate the rule book. I just put it, the rule book is like,
it's the weakest link.
It's very good, but it's just like fatal flaws.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I've definitely had worse rule books.
Whoa, 100%.
Yeah,
I mean, the game was playable. We've had rule books where the game is unplayable.
But like one page in the rule book could have solved all the issues that we had.
100%.
Because even has a bunch of clarifications in there, but it didn't have clarifications for.
Well, and it would have taken 15 minutes off our first playtime.
Yeah,
easy.
Yeah, and in that playtime was really only like what 45 minutes.
Yeah. But again, you take that time off, and now you're adding even another round in, because the rounds play so fast. I think the longest it took me to take a turn was the first turn.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how am I going to set everything up? After that, you just kind of have to go off of like what he's doing, and then what cards am I drawing and things like that. So, do you have anything else you want to add? Commentary on the game itself?
Nope. I did appreciate though, like how it handles range. Certain units,
it's great.
They're stronger up close, and then as they get further away, they roll less dice.
They all makes. I mean, it's very intuitive.
Yeah,
it's very intuitive.
Yeah.
Also, I hate card holders. These were great.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
I'm very anti card holder. But with the way this worked, I liked having them here because then my hands are free to maneuver, and I'm like, can still like look at my cards while I'm moving my
Knocking
units
things
around
everywhere.
and knocking boxes over.
Yeah.
So I liked just because, you know, normally it's like you put your cards down and that's not the end of the world. Oh no, I've got to pick my cards up.
Right. And even now this, I don't have to sleeve them because you're not holding on to them.
Yeah, I'm not manhandling them for sure. Yeah. So, I mean,
yeah,
A+ there.
Yeah, so as far as the card holders go, they're some of the better ones I've used.
And I even appreciate sort of the simplicity of the board, right? The design and like a
modularity of the X's. There's a bunch of different ones. Were there like 6, 7?
Oh yeah, there's all different kinds of trenches in there.
Yeah, they do all different special abilities during combat, so that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff in here.
Some tactics.
Yeah. All right, Bobby, we need to rate this game on Board Game Geek.
We do.
How do we do that?
So we're each going to give it a score between 0.5 and 10. We're going to take that score, average it together, and that'll be what the Board Game Rundown gives it. And you'll find that on BGG or in the Discord if you ask us. So,
all right. So as an evil Empire player,
I'm going to talk about evil. I mean, it's more like it's kind of about perspective.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to bring order to my galaxy.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? The snow planet.
Safety and order to my galaxy. All you have to do is what I say.
You'll be safe.
That's
and
right.
There will be order.
That's right.
All right. What do you rate this?
Well, I mean, I hate to give it a bump because it's Star Wars, but let's be real. I love Star Wars and it gets a bump for that.
Especially for representing Star Wars well.
Yeah, there you go. It's not just kind of slapped on there. Like the pieces are fantastic. You know, the production value is even for as simple, it's really good, right? The troopers look really good. That'd be kind of nice to get like a bit of a wash on them. I'm gonna give it 8.5 because like the scenarios played quick.
They did.
There's a lot going on there, and like I want more of these. Not necessarily for Hoth, but I want more.
No, give me every battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me Endor.
Yeah.
Give me a
trench
space
run.
Give me a space mission, right? For Death Star 1 and 2. Spoiler alert. There's a second Death Star. Why no? And I would say you could do it with the prequels and you could do it with the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take all of them.
Spoilers in the Rogue One, everybody just dies at the end.
Yeah. Well, that battle at the end of Rogue One would be a great one.
It would be. Yeah, you gotta like get your
because it'd almost be more of like a skirmish game, right? Because you'd have small units where these represent like big units, right? So you'd have like
those were in that also.
Well, they were bad times. Bad times.
Yeah. That was fun.
Even Churrick couldn't stop one of those.
Nope. Tried though.
So yeah, I mean, this probably would have been a 9 if it weren't for the rulebook.
Yeah.
The rulebook just frustrates me because it's like, you know better. You can do better.
Yeah.
You can do better, but it's an 8.5.
Right.
I think the only other neg is like, I hope that they do more of these because they're all going to be standalone expansions, right? They're all going to be their own game. They're not even expansions. They're just standalone, like in the series.
Right.
But I want them to do more in the series. I really hope they do more in the series because there's so many that they could pull from the movies, from the books. I mean, the freaking comics. I don't care.
Yeah.
You give me Star Wars battle scenarios with like a campaign book, and fun units to mess around with. Like, let's go.
Man, imagine how cool it would be if they did like a episode 1 and you just have different theaters going on. So you have like different boards. So you have like the board where you're doing Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul.
Yeah.
You have the space one where they're fighting.
Yeah.
And you have the cards that are affecting like all.
So you're going to choose which one I'm activating. Yeah, I'm activating this board versus this board.
Talk to me. I hope
that'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
Super cool.
That would be so cool.
It's almost like the Queen's Gambit game, right? How it has like the 3 different like actings going on, but it's more deets.
Right. Yeah. Right. And you give me the opening space battle for Revenge of the Sith, which is probably one of the best scenes in the prequel trilogy. That freaking space battle as they're going in is so good.
Yeah.
So cinematic and an okay movie. Whatever. Also, there is one other thing that is so on Star Wars is all these stormtroopers, these snow troopers were hitting everything.
They were. So
they were hitting
not
everything.
Very thematic with that.
I'm gonna just say that they should get a special set of dice that only has no hits. No hits.
It's all misses. But this score hits on an 8.5 for our average.
It
so
does.
That's pretty good.
It does. This game was really fun, and I'm really glad I got it.
Yep.
Bob and I each.
Oh yeah, we each got it.
We each got a copy.
My copy.
Yeah, was your copy. We each got a copy. Bob was looking out for me and was like, "Hey, I'm in line." Turns out that line was a dud.
It was two days of waiting in line because the first day they ended up not to sell it. They decided, oh, actually, we're going to wait till tomorrow to start selling. It's like, really? I've been standing in this line for 20 minutes.
Yeah, thanks for letting me stand in line right until right.
And the guy in front of me, poor guy, was like 45 minutes waiting in line.
Mad.
He was not happy.
Justifiably so.
Yeah. It's like anyways.
But yeah, I all that aside though, rule book,
plastic engraved dice, they were nice.
Rule book needs like 2 tweaks.
Yep.
But yeah, everything else was really good.
Just a nice turn flow structure, just because I think that even helps new gamers quite a bit. Having 100%. A nice, flow breakdown of that.
And again, you're not going to need it after you play this game one time. You're not going to need it, but for new people who this game is aimed at, like 100%, you're going to want it. Because it's going to help them. And also because depending on the people, like, so for Bob and I, let's just say this game goes on the shelf for a year, because that happens sometimes. So it's like, oh, hey, we haven't played this in a minute.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, that little card would be enough of a refresher that we wouldn't even crack the rule book probably. We would just crack the scenario book, set up, and look at that and go, okay, we know what we're doing. You know, so those are important. It's just like a tiny little oversight, but I still love you. Thank you so much. Battle of Hoth was really fun and did not disappoint. All right. Well, that's all I got to say about this thing.
That's all I got to say about that.
All right. For the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.
We'll see you next time.
Do you like to party?
I do like to party.
I also like to party.
I like to party.
A 7.3.
This is a great party.
Repeating.
We should party more often.
I do like to party.
Okay.
I also like to party. I also like to party.
I like to party. I like to party.
We should party more often.
Okay.
This is a great party.
Okay. Hey, Tim, what's the internal temperature of a tauntaun?
Why would I know that? What?
I don't know what you're going to say. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. Just
okay.
I'm just going to say, why would I know that? Because that's such a
I got you.
Random question.
So here's Tim.
Yeah.
He's talking
blah,
about
blah, 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 teaching the game. Blah, blah, blah.
And then, cold open. We are on Hoth.